We have the facts and the data piled up high, and yet we still find it easy to turn a blind eye. And we changed light bulbs, we drove low-emission cars, but now we're past the tipping point. We're leaving our carbon footprint on this earth like a giant scar. Now is the time we act with aggression before we put our climate in a global depression. We have to see that change must occur, and it starts with you, me, him, and her. And there are things that we can do to right this wrong, but we have to act together today, now, because we don't have long. Climate change is the biggest threat to our planet Earth, with agricultural farming being responsible for most of the girth. I know that we ask, what can one person do? But we have to stop that cynical mood, because the solution is simple and it starts with our food. If we all just changed our diet, then together against climate change we could fight it. See, burgers, steaks, and bacon. I know it's hard to think about living without these, but we don't need them for our health, and it's bringing our world to its knees. How our greed for money has turned these animals' lives in the industry isn't even funny. It makes me sad, filled with anger, because now we know what needs to be done to stop this danger. Methane emissions causes half of this planet's induced warming. That makes cattle responsible for 50% of climate change warming. Now, I'm no expert, far from it, and that is true, but I will shout from the mountaintops until I turn blue that we as a people can do more in the fight against this changing weather than all the politicians in DC put together. The facts are plain. If we all went vegan, then climate change would burn like wood in a flame. But I'm realistic at what it will take, and relying on that would be a huge mistake. So let's start small. Say we stopped eating red meat once and for all. Things would change more than you could even fathom, like if Eve was stopped from eating the fruit by Adam. And I get it, trust me. It's hard to change something so a part of our history. The thought of not eating meat used to make my eyes fill with tears. But look at me now. I haven't had meat in 2 years. Yeah, people ask, isn't eating protein without meat a difficult task? Take a look at the chart. 100 calories of broccoli has 11 grams and it's much better on your heart. But you know what really takes the cake? That's compared to 8 grams and 100 calories of steak. So veggies are healthier and much easier on our earth. So we have to ask ourselves what continuing to eat red meat is actually worth. And without air to breathe, we'd all be slaughtered. But the second most important thing to our life is water. And our care for this element is sadly lacking. Did you know we use up to 140 billion gallons a year on fracking? And just to feed the cattle to meet the meat demand, we use over 56% of water on crops in this land. So we use more water to feed the animals that we eat, when if we just ate the crops, we'd erase climate change like hitting delete. And we've stolen from this planet like a thief, and now we're to the point where it takes 2,500 gallons of water for 1 pound of beef. So long gone are those days where we can blame the damage so far on the fact that we can't afford a $60,000 electric car, because they told us the solution, and it's free, and saying no to red meat is the starting key. And there are other things we can do, and that's supported by facts. I mean, we can convert to wind and solar power and even have a carbon tax. But doing those things individually would be as hard as Noah building the boat, and that's why we have a say, and that's why we vote. So it's time to take our hands off our eyes, come together, and clear these polluted skies. Because doing nothing is like being told you're drowning in the sea, but you love the taste of salt water too much to agree. And yeah, this is a poem to help save our mountains and our beaches, but trust me, I'm not standing here hiding behind preachers. And I promise you, I'm not some chump. This isn't pro-vegan, pro-Hillary, or pro-Trump. This is pro-Earth and pro-human. And I know the picture is blurry, but I urge you to zoom in.